Oh yeah, about to get my Cinema Stash rehash on.
Let's go!
What?
Oh yeah.
Podcasting from Chico, California, and home of the world's largest functional yo-yo. They are Cinema Stash Rehash. Join them as they talk movies, make fun of them, and discover how they fuel your everyday life paranoia. Let me welcome you to...
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cinema Stash Rehash. Like you heard, we are here to talk about movies, and tonight we are going to talk about a movie that I love, and I will go to bat for because I think it's the funniest Tom Hanks movie that he's made. Fuck Forrest Gump, you know. I mean, some people say that's the funniest Tom Hanks. No, The Burbs is the funniest Tom Hanks movie.
Big is pretty good, though.
Big is, yeah, it's funny in a 12-year-old kind of way. But so anyway, The Burbs, yeah, made in 1989, directed by Joe Dante, starring Tom Hanks, co-starring Carrie Fisher, Bruce Dern. You know, the guy who plays Art, his name's Rick Dockerman, something like that.
Dukamum. I couldn't pronounce his name myself, but so
I think it's Dukamum.
But anyway, you know, it's a comedy thriller, a cadiller,
a little on the horror-ish side. Not really horror, but I mean, like,
yeah,
I
like it as a horror, a funny horror.
Well, with the Jerry Goldsmith score, it's totally the like that 80s. Like, I mean, it feels like I'm watching the Munsters, kind of. You know, I mean, it's like
it has those tones as well.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those movies. But I mean, just like with the opening shot with the Universal thing, and like you know it just pans down right into the globe and goes right down to the neighborhood. And I have a confession to make about this movie. And I saw this movie about 27 years ago, maybe. I don't know. Are we rolling up on the 40-year mark on this film?
So 89. It's you know,
I'm 32.
30 years old? Okay. So anyway, so the reason why I say this is when I watched this movie, I haven't seen it since I saw it when I was a kid. So when I watched this last time, I'm sitting here going... I was a little disappointed when I remembered that the Klopeks weren't actually the Burbs. Because when I saw the movie, I remembered as a kid, I thought they were the Burbs. And then I realized as the movie's going on, I found that it was Klopeks. And I was like, oh shit, they mean suburbs.
Wait.
Yeah, dude. That's Jason's dumbass moment of the week.
You didn't like get the Burbs pun?
No, I didn't. And that's the sad part. I'm being honest about that. It wasn't even a pun,
it was just an abbreviation or whatever.
No, yeah. Because like I said, I only saw the movie once, and I've never resurfaced in my life.
Okay.
So I saw the movie once when I was a kid.
What do the suburbs mean when you're young anyways?
Exactly. I think that's probably why it made no connection or correlation to me.
And honestly, it's like one of those things where the name is actually dropped in the movie once, and it's so subtle that it's like, why did they call it the Burbs? I don't know. They could have called it something else, you know.
Well, and I think the cover of the movie kind of throws me. I mean, because I remember the cover so well, and then like, you know, I'm watching the movie, and then at the very end, he finally says that the people in the Burbs, man. I'm like, oh shit, you know. So that's my little dumbass moment for this movie. But other than that, I mean, the movie I thought was a pretty fantastic movie. A lot of great. Physical comedy as well as just, you know, great one-line puns. I mean, and all that. I mean, I think Rumsfeld pretty much brings it in the movie for sure.
Oh yeah, Bruce Dern is full on fucking. He takes the. He's a scene stealer.
Rumsfeld's the name.
But yeah, the movie starts off with, you know, Tom Hanks watching the neighborhood go down, you know, like with Walter sending Queenie over to Rumsfeld's lawn first thing to take a shit, and then Rumsfeld, you know, subsequently coming out and noticing the shit and all that stuff going on, and then you get an introduction to Art, who I would not want to live next to. You know, he comes in with his fucking .22 trying to shoot a crow.
With his camouflage twig,
breaking cookie plates, and
yeah,
he's a dick.
He's like, Art's got a gun,
talking you into shit.
Yeah, I'd be like, Art's got a gun. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know.
At the same time,
Instead,
I kind
they
of wish
invite him in
lived,
for breakfast.
I wish I lived in a neighborhood like that. You know,
Oh yeah, it's a nice little cul-de-sac.
it'd be cool to. It'd be cool to have. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe minus the houses blowing up. I guess, but
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he comes in, he shoots up the guy's yard. He shoots up Ray's yard and basically almost shoots Ray's head off.
Yeah.
And he
shoots
goes,
Ray's.
"Oh, hey, Ray."
He shoots Ray's house.
Yeah, he goes, "Hey, Ray. Oh, what are you guys eating in there?" And then he comes
That's a pretty good impression.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, Ray. Hey, what are you guys eating in there?
that was pretty good.
And then he comes right to the door and just like, not only does he eat one plate, he eats 2 plates.
Oh, yeah.
And then he
He even
pulls
eats
shit
a-
out of the fridge.
No,
eats a scoop of
He
dog
takes
food.
the empty syrup bottle to the fridge, opens up the fridge, puts the empty syrup bottle in the fridge, takes out leftovers, and
Pineapple
smells
and
them.
ribs.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's telling Ray about like how fucked up the Klopeks are, and the naps. What happened to the naps? What happened to the naps? I don't know. But yeah, that's why this movie, I love it. Is that scene where he's going off about the naps? He's got the fridge open and he's pulling leftovers out, and then he comes out with a pineapple.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the ribs, and then a new syrup. But so he left the oven.
But the real douchemeister moment of the whole night was when he just reached his hand into the bowl of dog food and grabbed out a scoop. Like that was so rude. Like you're just gonna reach in. No one reaches in just a bowl. Oh, I'm gonna grab some of that and like fuck you. And God, it was dog food you did.
He goes, ugh, but he still just
Yeah, he's
chowns
like,
on it, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't really phase him much,
Yeah.
but a little bit.
It's very douchey.
Did anybody catch the Gremlins cereal in the background?
Well, Joe Dante directed Gremlins.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know
yes,
that.
Yes, and it's actually kind of funny. I mean, we'll talk about Dick Miller later, of course, but
Dick Miller
It
sighting.
kind of had that vibe. But
Yeah.
it had a Gremlins vibe. Now that you think about the
big time.
the dark tones.
Yeah.
The 3 of them, Dante and Feldman and Dick Miller. I mean, they all come right over into the Gremlins right after that.
Was the Gremlins pre or post?
Oh, pre-Burbs.
Pre-Burbs.
Big
yeah.
time.
interesting,
Gremlins
okay.
was like
I think it was 84.
Yeah.
Yeah, 84.
Was it?
So it was
Okay.
like 5 years later. Yeah.
Well, that'll be a future episode, I'm sure.
Oh, fucking yeah, right.
It's a good one.
But no, the Burbs for me, it was just one of those. It was a great slapstick comedy, and I loved the typical Tom Hanks isms. I mean, his Tom Hanks isms. What I mean is by that, every movie that Tom Hanks is in, he seems to do some sort of like head jarring, like freak out moment to where or whole body spasm.
You mean
freak out
that
moment?
weird-
You mean like when he's in his 6-beer nap and Art comes and wakes him over and wakes him up and he's like, "Well, we did it, we slid a note under there," and he's like,
You're gonna think it's me.
yeah. He's like, "So what'd you put on the note?" And he said, "We know what you did."
Yeah.
It's like just everything that's didn't want him to do that. Like I love that Tom Hanks crushing the beer cans and like throwing them spazzing
He
out.
gets
like,
that shrill. He gets that shrill Tom Hanks like yell.
Yeah.
That only Tom Hanks can do.
But I mean, and then he throws the femur bone like nothing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's just a something.
That's
And-
like another refrigerator moment. Like he's just held in a conversation, like doing something that's going on, meanwhile,
pretty much floats through life, not really having any idea what he's doing 90% of the time, probably.
Yeah. But prior to that scene, the whole lead up to like the Klopek weirdness, when they go out and meet up at night, and then they watch him drive his garbage down to the street and then beat the shit out of it with the hoe. And just everything after that, the next morning where they wake up and go get the garbage.
Oh, man.
And Dick Miller,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The worst part about it is it all would have been solved if he just went on vacation.
Yeah.
Just leave, and then
Exactly. If he just went on vacation.
none of that would have happened.
But I mean, this is probably one of the older films that I see Feldman in. Like, I mean, I'm not used to him because being a little bit older compared to all the other films that I've seen him in.
And this is like right around Michael Jackson time, where Feldman kind of got weird with the gloves and the jackets and stuff.
Well, they were like best friends.
Yeah, and that's
Right?
funny. There's apparently they were pretty close, but Michael Jackson never made an appearance on the set, but his monkey Bubbles did.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Because Corey Feldman was just as good of friends with Bubbles as he
It
was
seemed
with
that's
Michael
hilarious.
Jackson.
Yeah, so apparently Bubbles would just stay in the trailer when Corey Feldman was filming.
What the? So weird.
And it was frequent that after filming, Corey Feldman would go back to his trailer and it would just be covered in bubbles as shit because that's what monkeys do.
Smear his shit all over his trailer.
Well, he's an actor.
Yeah.
Besides like parodies, what did he do anything after this? Was this?
You mean Corey Feldman?
Yeah, was this pre Lost Boys? I'm so lost with my '80s dates.
I think this
was post.
Post Lost Boys, but not very long. You know, I think Lost Boys might have been '88.
I think
this
so.
This is '88.
Oh.
This is '89.
This is '89.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Freaking.
But it seems like it's the same time. It's probably the same span.
Oh no, you're right.
Couple
89.
years.
Sorry.
Yeah. But but even going back a little bit with introducing Ricky's character.
Ricky Barnes.
Yeah, Ricky Barnes. You know,
hey, that kid's a meatball.
Yeah. The kid next door is a meatball. I mean, you know, that's why. I mean, right when he's like the whole gardening scene. You know, when they're sitting out in the front of the grass and he's just all pissed off about Walter's dog. He goes, he trains that dog to shit in my lawn. You know,
No, he says, you know what really burns my ass?
yeah.
He trains his dog to come crap on my lawn.
And then Ricky with his line, you know, it's like, hey, with Rumsfeld, no tan lines.
Which, man, she didn't. And those, I mean, her legs. She had nice
Oh no,
legs.
man! I mean, it's one of those.
Fun fact: she does the voice for in Family. Or no, what is it? Not
Long crackly voice.
American Dad. American Dad. The wife in that. She does the.
Oh, that's her.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know
Wendy
that.
Shaw.
Weird.
Shaw.
I didn't know that either.
But yeah, Rumsfeld is amazing. You know, just his like, you know, calling the guy lame-o and then eating animal crackers up on the roof. And then eventually slipping off the roof in his gun.
Yeah, so get out of my yard, lame-o.
Hey, Ricky.
I'm gonna equate this movie with another. I think it was a Wyatt pick, which was Animal House. Was that?
No,
Did you pick-
that would be a Jason.
No, that
pick.
would be a me pick. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It was along the same lines of that to me. There was funny parts. I enjoyed it for an '80s movie.
Yeah.
I've seen better. I didn't enjoy it as much as Wyatt beams about, but I gave it a shot and I liked it. I didn't dislike it. There were parts about it that were kind of slow, or I just didn't. Maybe it was a different time in the '80s and people went outside and talked to neighbors. which I meant, it seems like that went away in the '90s probably.
Well,
People started getting taken and stuff.
Once the
I guess.
TVs got bigger, the people stayed inside.
Yeah.
Stayed inside.
Yeah, people got weirder and
Well,
TVs got bigger and
I think in that day though, it's like, you know, you knew your neighbor. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
in that day you were more personable, and you did. You knew your neighbor. You knew.
well, I'm gonna
guy down the street. I mean,
I'm gonna sell you out right now. We're sitting in your garage doing a podcast in a neighborhood. You have neighbors right next to us. Do you know them?
I know about 5 to 6 of them.
Okay, through this street.
Yes.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you get along with them? Do you
Yeah.
talk to them? Barbecues, anything like that?
Not that close, but you know, come out, shoot the shit with. Sure.
I live in a neighborhood. My neighbors and my next door neighbor and I talk every once in a while. You know, we jab if we happen to go outside at the same time in the backyard or something. But I don't know many other than just waves and nods. What about you?
The neighborhood that I grew up in was very much like this neighborhood. Everybody knew each other, but every neighborhood I've lived in after that, and that was probably, you know, when I was like 18, I've never known my neighbors. Like, you know,
That's my point.
You know, it's like, you know, your neighbors, like, hey, I'm your
That sucks
neighbor.
that went away. I mean,
It
it
is
breaks my
kind of
heart.
weird, you know, but I think that's what happens when
That was when America was America.
I think that's media, and I think
Trump
overall
ran on that.
I think it's overall it's media. I mean, you watch the news and there's nothing happy that's going on out there. So I mean, people kind of get closed off.
yeah, and it's,
You know, they don't really want to talk to people as much because they're a little bit of afraid. I mean,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it makes
But like
sense.
like Wyatt said, when I grew up, I mean, I knew everybody on my cul-de-sac because
Yeah.
I lived on a cul-de-sac.
yeah.
You know, I knew everybody. You know, so I think back then it was more kosher and common to know your neighbors. So like when you get somebody like the Cloplex,
Yeah.
move in
Did you
next
have
door.
did you have any Clopex?
No, I didn't. Like everybody was pretty much normal. They come outside and you would see them.
You know what that means? That means you are the Klopek.
I could have been the Klopek.
If on your block there's no Klopek, it means you are the
Are the-
Klopek.
Did you have a furnace in your basement that went up to 5,000 degrees?
I didn't have a basement.
It's in his garage. It's-
Me either, man. I lived in the same development.
I
And you
wanted
did.
to-
Yes, you did.
I want a basement though. I'm jealous of the house.
Basements are pretty sweet.
It was a creepy old place.
Well, like everybody wants to turn their basement into a game room. So, you know.
No, Tom Hanks had a good role. I loved him in it.
Yeah,
and it was
oh,
a
yeah.
funny movie. I mean,
I liked his. You know, it's got that nice family, and like, you know, he doesn't want. Carol's like, "Are you gonna eat any of these?" He's like, "Yeah, I got my stomach thing." Just like, I just want to have my staycation where I get fucked up,
drink some beer.
yeah, and be paranoid about.
I'll fix the barbecue.
Because I mean, that's pretty entertaining probably to be paranoid about some creepy neighbors like that, where it's like, okay, hey, let's go spy on the Klopex, you know. What do they got going on in there? But at the same time, it was a little, once you see that basement lighting up, it was kind of like, okay, this is serious.
Didn't you not love, though, that every time that Tom Hanks stepped on the Kloplex yard, that this unforeseen wind would just come about and just blow his ass, and you're just like, what the hell?
Creepy.
Well, yeah, and I
it was like, you know,
I love how it's like
setting it up.
The Slovakian ginger came out.
Well, yeah, and Art and Rumsfeld and Ray are all handling it just so juvenile, like.
Oh, dude.
And I like how when Carol and Bonnie finally get involved, like the women are all like, we just need to be like confrontational and like go say hi, you know, like. And it just,
more like neighborly than confrontational. Like,
yeah,
let's go say hello.
Yeah. But at the same time, it is confrontational because they have been, you know, their dungeon has been lighting up, and it's kind of like they've just been daring people to come up to their door.
Okay, well, I think it might be fun to maybe read a scene here. You know, so we're gonna do the, you know,
I'll read a scene.
Why
you got these printed out?
Yeah, we got these printed out, so we're just pass them out here. Okay, so
looks like I'm Runsfeld.
Okay,
I can live with that.
I'm gonna be Art.
Which one's Ray's Tom Hanks character?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been talking about it for a while.
I don't think.
All right, so let's see if we can read these things and make something happen here. All right.
So what's the scene? So we're okay. So the three of them are back after the ladies leave, back in Ray's study after visiting the Klopex.
That's exactly. All right. So here we go. That's right. It's time for read a scene.
Okay, everyone, places. This is the final scene, so let's make this one count. And action.
So what's the deal, Ray? Are you siding with the chicks over at? Is that it?
Yeah, are you totally pussy whipped or what? Just take your balls out of your wife's purse and make a stand for one time in your life. Hey, Ray, come on. It's just a figure of speech.
It's a joke. He's kidding around. Oh, it's Walter's rug? You got a old guy's rug? Oh my God, I can't even read.
You had that in your trousers all day?
After you found this in Walter's house yesterday, I slipped it back through the mail slot.
Yeah? Where'd you get it this time? Oh, Klopex? Wow.
After the dog came out, he's always so excited. After the dog came out of the basement, I found it wedged between a bunch of magazines. All of which were addressed to Walter.
Then what does that mean?
The Klopex went back inside, and Walter's house got back the hair. What do we do now, soldier?
You heard them say we were going away tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh man. All right.
As
soon as that car leaves in the morning, no, why is he all southern? Let's just.
Pretty sure we've all been fired by now.
All right. End scene. That was terrible.
But they are, like, literally, I mean, everybody, you know, Art and Ray, they're like 13-year-old kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, especially like when Carol wouldn't allow Tom Hanks to come out.
Yeah.
And you got Art down there kicking his feet going, oh, shucks, guys.
Totally.
You can't come out and play, you know?
Yeah.
It was exactly like that. Yeah. But it was kind of interesting, though. I mean, because, you know, we said how much we did enjoy Tom Hanks in this film, but he actually didn't want to really do this film because he was so, like, he was afraid that since this puts him in the dad character.
You get stuck in it, huh?
Well, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to go back to what.
Bachelor party.
Well, yeah, and shit that, like, built his career. You know, it's like once you hit the dad role, you're like, okay, well, am I going to always be the dad, or am I going to be the crazy uncle, or some shit like that? You turn
to the guy that doesn't know how to fly right and just gets stranded everywhere. That's your role now, sir. Enjoy it.
Talking to a volleyball.
You suck at airplanes, bro.
Oh, that's another Tom Hanks airplane movie. Pass.
I enjoyed a lot of Tom Hanks films. So that some were better than others, but still, yeah.
Yeah, this one just to me. I mean, I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
No, not at all. Please.
I was just gonna say, like, as far as Tom Hanks goes, like I like it because it has all those the qualities of like where he is doing typical Tom Hanks things, but the little spaz outs, like when he's like, "I'm only just trying to take a nap," like that whole scene to me is just quintessential Tom Hanks. And the movies he's done since the 80s have mostly been serious. This is like the Joe versus the Volcano era, where it was like he was just being cast in all these ridiculous comedies that made no sense. And I think this is the one that's like the funnest.
Yep.
So after
I wonder what he thinks. I wonder what his most fun movie was to make. Because at the time it was the 80s movie. I mean, I don't know. Carrie Fisher was pretty big at the time, but there wasn't a lot of. Corey Feldman was in a bunch of movies when he was young. But
he was Mr. 80s also, so yeah.
Well, fun fact too, Tom Hanks is from Red Bluff, which is 30 miles north of us. So.
Shout out.
That?
NorCal.
That's a good fun fact. That was unknown. I did not know that.
Also about Tom Hanks, which actually I've been thinking about. You told me, I learned about the Gremlins thing about 20 minutes ago when you said it, which is pretty cool. Now I think about it, Tom Hanks was not, when he signed on to the movie, they changed the plot. Because originally he was supposed to die in the movie, but it was so dark and weird that they changed it, and Tom Hanks signed on, and it all worked out. But originally, thinking about it now, it feels even more like a Gremlins type movie. So it's pretty cool to know that the two are linked.
Well, that would have just been weird to me because I don't think I've ever seen a Tom Hanks film where he would have died.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. Even
if he's stranded on an island,
he still found a way back. Yeah, I mean that would have been
even
weird.
If he goes into war.
Yeah,
he survived. Oh wait, no, Saving Private Ryan.
That's true.
He dies.
That's the one.
Does he really though? I mean, everybody dies, but does he really?
He lives on in our hearts.
He's in my heart.
I really in the movie though. Going back to the movie just a little bit. I felt that the build-up in the movie was perfect. Yeah, because you right away you see that there's this menacing house, and then you see the wind, and then they go up and put the note in the door, and then the door opens steadily and creakily, and the person grabs it. The 9 turns into a 6.
Yeah,
the build-up is great. Then you see him digging holes, and then they finally make it into the house. Mm-hmm. And the house scene was actually fantastic.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
weird.
It was crazy because just real quick, this movie was filmed during the 1988 writers' strike.
Oh, that's right.
And so I guess the writer Dana Olson, I believe his name was, he appeared in the film. I unfortunately don't exactly know what his character was, but he was not able to put forth any input in the script because he was the writer, so he can't. But he can be in the film. But so Dante was he encouraged his actors to improvise a lot of the scenes, especially with Rumsfeld with the whole ripping of the wallpaper. And just I can only imagine really how much of this film was actually improvised, and we've talked about it before how great it is for a scene to be improvised.
Yeah, it's some of the best scenes for sure.
Some of the best scenes are kept because they're improvised.
That makes more sense now because I heard the Tom Hanks scene when he threw the gurney in the hospital in the ambulance and he jumped on it. That was which makes more sense now that know they're on strike. So
take me to the hospital. I'm sick.
So, but some of those lines are definitely the best lines that come out.
But it was very much so. It built up very good, and then the climax and everything.
Well, yeah, and then when they're in the house, there's the appearance of Brother Theodore, the actor who plays Ruben, and that's just because it's the Hans the I guess son. I don't know
No, they never made it clear on what
they didn't make it dynamic is. It could just be some weird. Weird stuff going on there. Let's just assume the doctor.
I would imagine it's the grandson.
The doctor is Doctor and Ruben are brothers. Because the age would make sense to me. He does say this, my brother, the doctor.
Yes.
So Hans will say is maybe their grandson.
Or just the helper, maybe?
One of them.
I'm assuming that, yes, there's a relation there.
But anyway, so the whole, a kind of ambiguous nature of Hans kind of made it, weirder. But then when they got into the house and then Ruben's there and he's just right up in their business, just staring at people, you know, like, you motherfuckers,
Yeah.
what are you assuming? What are you assuming?
Yeah.
It kind of like turns it on your head, and you're like, okay, so maybe they are normal people, and like, because he looks like he's seriously like, fuck you, you know?
Especially with the sliding of the door, and it opens up, and there's this big fucking stout looking dude, and he's like, yeah, you look like a Klopek.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. Let me ask you a question. This movie has a couple things going for it that I appreciate. Which one is Tom Hanks is probably, I mean, to think about it, he's got to be maybe top 5 of my favorite actors. And I was gonna ask you guys, what do you think? Where do you put Tom Hanks in? I mean, because it didn't, like I said, it didn't have a lot of star power. I mean, Corey Feldman was a minor star at the time, a younger star.
I have to agree. Besides Carrie Fisher, I mean, there wasn't really many, and Tom Hanks, there wasn't really many.
But Carrie Fisher was a megastar at that point, 88. Was the trilogy?
Was 83 was
by then?
83 was the end of the trilogy, so it was
it
about 5 years difference. But I mean, still.
Because I mean, like I said before, I don't think I haven't seen her in much. Besides, I mean, what did she do as an actress?
Well, she kind of turned to some of the, you know, like. Well, I know she was in, I think it was Sleepless in Seattle or something like that, which was a good, like, you know, chick movie.
Like a friend character.
You know, but beyond that, I mean, she did kind of like, she did some voiceover acting and I think in some other stuff. I mean, I didn't really follow her too much after the wars.
Did you look up and see what who Art's from? What movie Art's from?
Oh, I hadn't quite gotten to it yet.
He looked super familiar. I thought he was from Animal House. Just because we had recently watched that a couple.
Well, he kind of reminds me of Flounder, but beyond that,
he does kind of. Yeah, okay, so
a little bit there.
He's gonna look like Flounder. No, but he's in Groundhog Day, Die Hard, scary movie.
Okay, so now I just got my fat people.
Yeah, I think he's mostly just a character actor that doesn't really have much more than.
It was
doesn't surface too much.
It's an interesting cast. It's a weird cast for alongside Tom Hanks. At the time, maybe Tom Hanks wasn't as big as I think he is.
I think it was probably a movie that like Tom Hanks was able to film in a short amount of time because it was all on the Universal set. It was all in one spot.
Besides the ending, that didn't seem like there was a whole lot of money put in, you know, production.
Yeah. And you know, like
explosions and whatnot.
I think if he didn't have the really good supporting like performances from Bruce Dern and
Corey Feldman did a good job.
Yeah, he did too.
Yeah, he played that role well.
And Rick Document
he didn't do a terrible job as a friend.
I just suck at his name, but
like I'm trying to think of other people that would play that role, and you know,
Corey Feldman's role.
No, the one of Art.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
I thought
he was really good in it. Like,
I thought he was perfect.
I thought he played it well. He did the part well.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite scenes is probably the most cheesiest scene out of all of it, and we have to bring it up. It's the smash zoom.
The what?
The smash zoom, when they figure out this is Walter.
Oh yeah,
and they go dun 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 dun. You know, I mean,
Ray, this is Walter.
and it's like they're doing the scene. It's like they almost can't even get through it. You know, you can almost see it on their faces that they're starting to laugh by the end of it. You know, it's like
throw an edit in. Shit, go edit. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're laughing almost. I mean, it feels like they're laughing, but
it does. It does. You know, okay, not to get completely sidetracked.
Balls in your mouth over there.
Our last episode was on The Thing, starring Kurt Russell, and after the episode, I was able to land a somewhat unbelievable interview with Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah,
and I use that term "unbelievable" quite literally
because it's unbelievable.
I didn't believe it. It was amazing.
And thank you, Wyatt. And it is me, Wyatt, here with Kurt Russell. Mr. Russell, can I call you Kurt? First of all, thank you for joining us. And we just wanted to talk a little bit about your movie from 1980, John Carpenter's The Thing. So first of all, what can you tell us about that movie and the time and the director?
I look at it and I think that he has a tremendous sense of humor. And besides his talent is, I think, fantastic.
Okay, so aside from that, what did you think of his idea of what The Thing was and the concept behind that?
He wrote it as a walrus.
Really? A walrus?
You know, I have my own personal feeling about walrus.
it taps into what?
He loves that so much that it's infectious. Hey, let's make a movie and squirt catch up on each other.
Sure. That sounds cool, I guess. So, to wrap things up, you got anything else to tell the audience out there? We're into these old vintage movies, so we kind of just are rehashing these things and want to find some things that we maybe didn't see before that we want to talk about again. So, just open your mind.
It's just you know what's hard is like I did a picture called Unlawful Entry. You know, she was played it great and everything. So it could be comfortable. Listen, it's so quick. Meryl Streep and I were supposed to look like we were in love. So I think that it's okay. It's just that in that one, she's watching me have sex with my wife, and she sees it. Okay, then you gotta I don't like sex scenes if you're having fake sex, then the audience knows it. I actually asked him, I was like, what? Tell me how this works. He said, and he was great. He said, I just want to go.
Okay, well, there it was.
I don't even know. I mean,
how do you lose him at the end there? I don't understand.
Well,
that question really set him free. It sounded like
it was over Skype, and it was like in a lobby where he was at, and I'm not even sure it was just kind of the top of Kurt Russell, like his head, and it could have been a Kurt Russell robot.
Was he just thankful someone was watching a movie of his? Or?
That's
not true. I'll shout out to Overboard. That's my mom's favorite movie. Is Overboard.
Really?
Yeah.
I should.
Overboard. If we're talking about Kurt Russell, but
yeah, well, okay, so we're going to swing back to the Burbs.
Back to the Burbs. I'll jump to the ending because I will say the second favorite thing I have going for the movie is it does build a nice plot to a good climax at the end. Mm-hmm. For movies, I'm happy when that happens. At the end, there was a climax. The movie was over. Yeah. Satisfied, good. When the movie ended, because my favorite scene in the movie is when the explosion goes off. He hits the gas main, and the explosion goes off. The house, boom, and everyone's standing outside, and no one knows what happened. Mm-hmm. And Tom Hanks' character Ray comes out of the house, stumbles out, and his face is just messed up. And then it just caught me off so much. I giggled, and I remember my girlfriend doesn't watch these movies next to me when I watch these movies, but I remember nudging her and just looking because it was the makeup caught me off guard, and the way he was just. I didn't think he was going to stumble out of the house like that. I liked that part of the movie. It cracked me up watching him stumble out with.
I think that was the part that you were talking about was when if he was going to die, would have been there, but then. It was so much more funny.
It was way better
for him to come stumbling out of that house, just completely lost. And it reminds me of another movie. I think that Tom Hanks just is completely lost in, and I can't think of what it is. But
have you seen Money Pit?
I don't know, but I'm just thinking more and more, visualizing him like he's got his arm up like this.
Exactly. He's just stumbling around.
He probably wishes he had Wilson in every movie.
But it is you really start to because he got what he deserved. I mean he went all in on Art's Art's pure.
Yeah, and then he tried to blame it on Art. I mean, come on, you can't.
Well, but
you gotta take some blame there.
Art was a good fuel though.
But
really there was decent fire to that for sure. But
Art was also a not a very supportive guy. When he came out, he was just did you find it? Did you find it? Did you find Walter?
He's like, we got some shit on them. We got the dirt on them now.
Which, by the way, that just thinking about that scene, because when Walter rolls up, you're reminded of that patch of garbage that's on the street that stays on the street
the whole movie.
And I like that because it's it only takes place over a span of a weekend or whatever.
Just a couple of days.
And that garbage stays there. It gets run over by the Klopex when they come and go, and then when Walter gets returned, it gets run over. And,
it stayed there the entire movie, run over by numerous cars, and it was just nobody's gonna clean this up. It's just gonna stay there.
Well, that whole scene with the garbage,
it's a cul-de-sac.
with Dick Miller is funny because the conversation they're having is pretty good, and then when they come out and they start ripping the garbage out, and Rumsfeld is saying well, I pay your bill, or you're gonna clean it up because you're the garbage man.
You're a Garby.
That's actually a really funny segue. Another favorite part of this movie is that which they don't do very often anymore is there's multiple alternate endings to this movie. I don't know if you knew that. And I've watched a couple on YouTube. But the garbage men were actually, one of the endings is they open up the trunk and there's a couple different things in the trunk. And there's obviously the skulls are one of them as the movie ends, and as it's intended. But it opens the trunk and there's cheerleaders in there at one time. Those garbage men are in there at one time. A couple endings don't even have the car at the end. It ends differently, and I really like that about. I wish they did that up to more movies now. It'd be more fun to click through some endings. They can take the time to Totally. Well, maybe not now because there's so much production. It's hard.
Yeah.
But I really like that about that movie. It's fun. If you have time, maybe we'll put them up on our website for you.
There you go.
But if you have time, go check them out. The alternate endings are really fantastic. They're pretty good. Yeah, I love watching different takes on it.
When you have like an end like that with a reveal where it's just like the trunk opening up, you can make a bunch of different endings. I'm sure that's why they did it. They were like,
oh yeah,
since it's a trunk opening up and it's like kind of the arbitrary whatever is in there that's going to implicate the Klopeks, let's make it.
The opportunities are endless.
Yeah, and Henry Gibson as Dr. Lopek did a pretty good job at creeping you out. So he could do multiple different endings as a creepy old Dr. Man.
Totally. So. Well, his introduction, that scene where he's like, where Ruben's like, my brother, the doctor, it's like,
coming.
It's just such an introduction, and then his shadow, the contrast with his size is
man.
Funny, but that scene is great too, where they're like, we thought the candles would be romantic for the ladies, and it's like 12 candles on the table. Like it's just hilarious in that sense, where it's like candles for them are Transylvanian candles.
It's okay. So two things I'm going to call bullshit on. One is if you were murderers, would you be that freaking apparent?
But that's what's so brilliant weird about this movie is like you're like, would they? And then at the end you think that they're not, because they're Ray strikes a gas line, their house blows up. It's like, what were they? You stopped even thinking about how they had a 5,000 degree furnace in their basement, which explains nothing. Like what were they like incinerating their bodies? I guess that's all that you could do that in something less than that. You don't need that.
What's weird too is
they do it at a wood stove.
They incinerated the body, and then you said, I'm gonna find the bones, and like I thought the point of cremation was it gets rid of all the bones, so that didn't make any sense. The other thing I call bullshit on is if you're murderers, why would you go get the cops and bring them to your house? Like that's just suicide. Why would you do that? It makes no sense.
Because all the evidence is in their trunk, which was only going to get opened if the spire was blown off of the.
Okay, so an alternate ending. I don't think he was a murderer. He moved to the cul-de-sac to be a different family. They wanted to be in a neighborhood. That was the one I watched.
They murdered.
But they murdered.
Owners,
They murdered. Yeah, that didn't change. But they wanted to change. I guess now that I think about it, no, they murdered their owners. That never changed.
Yeah,
that part's the part of it.
Yeah, you
maybe
even
they
asked.
didn't. Maybe they did change. I don't know.
Why was there never a moving van? It's because they just kind of.
It was out in front of the house for the whole day.
that was a good
Why you're the house impressionist?
Yeah, yes, you are. The one part that I it makes sense now that I think about it a little bit more. But like when the big fucking dog bursts out of the attic and he's like, you keep a horse in the basement,
Landu.
Yeah, like why would they keep the dog in the basement? But then I think about it like. They're out there not burying people, but they're digging people up. So you wouldn't want to have your security dog out in the backyard digging up bones, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a good question. What you're saying when they were like out in the back digging, they were just digging up the bodies that they had already dug up or buried.
Well, maybe, perhaps.
Because that's a whole.
But what are they burying? I don't understand.
No, I think they were digging it up, not burying people.
So there's already dead bodies in the backyard.
Well, I think maybe when they moved in, they buried people, and then they were trying to get rid of them.
The naps.
Yeah. Okay.
But why would they? That's why they hit the incinerators. They burnt the naps up.
Well, I don't know. That's the big like screwball of the whole thing.
Yeah. Also, what is the incinerator powered on? If it took down the power, I don't mean to just tear this movie apart. Why? It was a good movie. I appreciate the call.
No,
it was a gas furnace. That's all you need. You just need a big blower.
And it tore up the power in the whole neighborhood.
Okay, good question.
I don't understand the lightning bolt.
Because
I got you, bitch. Now you're questioning it over there. I see you.
Yeah, because the power wouldn't surge if you were just ramping up the gas.
Yeah. So there's some questions here that have not been answered.
But at the end, he does say, "You checked my furnace, didn't you?" So there's apparently maybe it's not a hot furnace. I don't know.
No, if you had
Maybe
a
we just
5,000
need to
degree
calm
furnace,
down.
I'm pretty sure that's hot enough to burn bone.
Everything in there.
And probably most metals.
Oh,
You know,
metal
it's
metal
like-
melts at like 2,000 degrees. 2,000 or not higher than that, but
I didn't understand where the bone came from. If you're burying people, why do you need an incinerator? If you have an incinerator, why are you burying?
But that's what my question was. I was like, what's the purpose of having your dog down in the? I mean, that's like a security dog. That's
I don't
like
think we've
to
ever
scare people
questioned
away.
the
But I
movie
mean,
as much as we're questioning this movie right now. Like, what are we doing right now?
We're digging deep.
We're enjoying
we're
the
digging
film.
deep
I
like the
hope Tom
Klopex.
Hanks doesn't listen to podcasts or ours. He's gonna feel terrible. Right now.
No, we're digging deep like the Klopex for little bits and pieces.
We're
of
opening
this
the
movie.
trunk, the skeletons in our trunk.
I have to say one thing because I know Wyatt and I are Dick Miller fans,
You guys
and
are.
Dick Miller has a line in every movie that's always worth listening to. And in this movie, I have it written down here, and it's Dick Miller, and he says, "I hate cul-de-sacs. There's only one way out, and the people are weird."
Yeah.
There's always a Dick Miller. And for the Trekkies out there, the other guy was the hologram doctor
Yeah.
in the Voyager.
Yeah, he was, and he's in a few other things too.
A few other things, but I mean,
That's his most notable role.
yeah. I had to bring back to Dick Miller just for a second because he always warrants a quick little
For the fans that don't know,
throw out.
you gave him a shout. Who is Dick Miller?
Well, Dick Miller, he's just one of those classic 80 actors. I mean,
He's most notably.
I don't know.
He's most notably from Gremlins.
I think so.
He's the neighbor in Gremlins that he appears in Gremlins 2, the new batch.
Okay.
But yeah, what's his line? Do you know what his last
So
name
he's
is?
an 80s
You just saw
actor.
that recently, didn't
What's
you?
that?
What's Dick Miller's character's name in Gremlins? Didn't you just watch that? It's like Mr.
That'd be a good pull if you can get this one.
Oh my God, I'm gonna pull it. Give me a moment, and I'll.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. It was Mr. Futterman. Don't bother listening and hoping I didn't come up with it. Mr. Futterman. Okay.
He's also in Explorers.
Yes, he's in Explorers.
Okay, is he the detective in Explorers?
Yeah, the sheriff.
Yeah, that guy.
Or the helicopter pilot that sees them and tracks them down.
Okay.
You know?
Oh man, I can't wait to do that one too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good call. I'll give the birds a thumbs up, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad you
what it
guys.
is- for
I
what it
mean,
is.
I really didn't know what to expect because I knew that this movie is, I started looking at it objectively when I watched this last time, just thinking, what are you guys thinking if you watch this? And I think it's undeniable that there's some good comedy, slapstick comedy, especially from the supporting roles. But Tom Hanks does his own, he keeps it Tom Hanksy.
Yes, he does.
But I came away from it thinking if you guys don't like this movie, I can understand, but I still understand why I like it. I think
as a movie fan, I think it would be hard to not enjoy the movie for what it is. I mean,
Totally.
I did find it funny though. I mean, Carrie Fisher did kind of foreshadow the movie a little bit.
She did.
And she says before somebody falls off the roof or catches on fire, let's go over there, and basically, and that's exactly what
both
happened.
those happen.
And let's not forget another great key point of the film. I mean, the whole time when we haven't even talked about that. When Art's up there snipping the fucking telephone pole
he would
wire.
lose limbs.
Dude, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, how many volts are going through that? I mean, there's no way he's walking. I mean, he's like, my feelings are hot.
Yeah.
But the crash down into the shed below.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the sound effect they used was actually bowling pins crashing together.
Not really.
I mean, that's great. I mean, he's come on, man.
There was enough kind of stupidity in the movie. I legitimately thought it would end by him waking up to him going on vacation or something. There was so much silliness to the movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would have been great. At the end of the film, he actually took his nap. And woke up next to a 12-pack of empty beer cans or whatever, and that the whole movie was his dream.
That's
out there on the lawn.
Yeah, totally. It's funny though too because it's it kind of is one of those things. I mean, Rumsfeld seems like he's retired. That's my guess.
Oh yeah,
Art and Ray are working.
He's retired with a hottie wife too.
Yeah, I mean Rumsfeld.
Yeah,
we'll just not question
I
many
mean,
of that. I guess.
No, I
guess every cul-de-sac has one beautiful mama.
Yeah.
You would hope so.
Jason, who's your
somebody's got to have something to look at,
If you don't know who's beautiful mama on the cul-de-sac, it means it's your woman. That's.
Well, I don't live on a cul-de-sac, but okay.
Oh, I guess that's true. Through streets.
But you know, it makes me wonder if they weren't on vacation, would this have even happened? You know, because the paranoia and the obsession with Ray, I think, is more easily propagated when you have a staycation and you're like,
I don't know. He woke up in the morning instigating watching out the window of a dog pooping on a neighbor's yard and
because he was staycation. He's like, you know, I mean,
he wanted that all weekend.
Yeah,
I don't think
he wanted to drink a few hundred beers,
right?
Maybe smoke a cigar outside.
I don't think he'd guess he'd hit a gas main and blow up a house by weekend's end.
I don't know though, to be honest, man. I mean, I think he had that plotted the whole time. Like he wanted to stay home specifically to find out what the fuck was up with that house.
He was vindicated.
I don't think so, because I think he was weirded out by them, but I think he had more important things to think about until Art started pointing things out, and then Art would, you know, like, because when he can you it's such a weird scene when Hans comes out to pick up the paper, and you know, like, Art's down at the driveway and he's like, Ray, and like the whole neighborhood's just like stands up. It's like, holy shit, the freaks came out. and it's just a strange thing because I mean, it's kind of like offensive. I don't want to sound too, like, you know, silly about that, but like,
it's not super PC.
No, well, I mean, I don't even
that.
think it's like, you know, PC anyway to like not, but like for the whole neighborhood to be like staring at you, it's kind of like no wonder he like went back in. You know?
Yeah, who wouldn't, man? When everyone's fucking staring at you.
But then again, they already kind of set the bar for weird. Like they don't take care of their lawn. They just moved in. You know, they drive right into their garage, and
it's only windy on their property. I mean, that brings up question right there.
True.
You can't walk by without getting your toupee blown off. That's not happening.
I will say, I mean, as crazy as Art was, they were right. I mean, they were vindicated at the end.
Oh yeah,
They weren't wrong.
I mean, but that's the thing.
They had never done it before, and they may never do it again. But their instincts were right. So
one of the things
you got to give them that.
I like about this movie is that like you're fully all in. Like the Klopeks are weird, and the femur. I didn't, you know, like I don't know why anybody would react that way. Like say like, Ray, this is Walter. Like Walter has been missing for
20 hours.
Yeah,
not even that long.
And they've already skinned him, bleached the bones.
Yeah, it looks like he's been in the ground for how long?
Yeah, so at that point, I wouldn't be all in to go digging into their basement, but still, like I can understand why, you know, you'd be weirded out. But at the end, when they like kind of vindicate themselves, and it looks like they're like playing violins, you know, like when their house blew up, and it's like, that's your house, sir, and he's like whimpering practically. And then you're like, man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Whose house at the end had the ambulance that was on fire?
That was Art's.
Oh,
when his wife comes home.
My wife's. Yeah, he's like, my wife's home. Oh shit,
and your house is on fire.
That's right.
My wife is home.
Yeah, that's all he cared about. He didn't give a shit about his house was on fire.
He kind of got his too, in a way.
Oh yeah.
Tom Hanks had his face pretty messed up, but his house didn't get.
Yeah, the interview that he had with the TV reporter is like, we're not going to stand up for this shit. You know, you're going to come into our neighborhood and we're going to get you. You know, and basically, I mean, he was just like flat out just a crazy bastard.
I'm just wondering how Carrie Fisher knew to come home, because she was supposed to be gone for the weekend, and
was it not Weekend's End?
No, like they left in the day that they left.
Yeah, and they came back at night.
Yeah, no, not they. She left the kid.
Oh yeah, she's like, fuck it, I gotta go back. I mean, Ray is just crazy.
Yeah.
I love his reaction though when he was in the ambulance, and he's just like, take me to the hospital, I'm sick, and she's like, I guess I'll just find out what hospital they're taking you and follow. Yeah. I mean, she's like, I'm gonna be supportive, but you're just kind of bats right now, you know. I don't know.
Which is a good wife. We'll appreciate that.
Totally. Well, and she still looked amazing.
She did look good.
Yeah, she still looked amazing.
She looked very Princess Leia-y.
Yeah. So
as if Princess Leia had, like, you know, been in the witness protection program and is on Earth and is just trying to blend in.
Which I'm sure she might be out there somewhere.
Yeah.
All right.
R.I.P. Carrie Fisher.
R.I.P.
All right. Do we have anything else to meander about on this bad boy?
I'm glad to hear that you guys liked it.
Oh yeah. Do you, hey, Chris?
I always appreciate a good movie.
For a moderate skeptical, I'm not going to call you a skeptical because you enjoyed it, but you seem to do a good rating system for something like. What would you give a little?
Well,
rate
I'll rate it at this. I have an impossible time falling asleep, and I put that movie on. I watch movies at nighttime. It's the time I have to watch movies, and I fell asleep 3 times. It took me 3 times to get through the movie, which is not normal. And so I'll give it a 3 out of 5. I got my three sleeps out of 5.
Were we going to do 10s or?
I do that every time. Do you see what's funny is 3 out of 5 sounds okay, but 6 out of 10 does not sound okay.
Well, that's why I like that. That's why I like that.
Yeah. So if we're gonna do out of 10, then I would ratchet up to a 7.5 or 8 out of 10 because it's still a really good movie. It entertained me, and that's all I ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know how I feel about it, but.
Well, for myself, I mean, like I said, I'd probably only watched it once in 30 years.
Watch it once. It's worth a watch.
I'm gonna go an 8 out of 10 because it was totally enjoyable all the way through.
Yep. Entertaining.
I enjoyed it. I didn't fall asleep.
No.
So
that might have been my fault.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. There might have been something else involved, but
maybe.
So yeah, so I mean, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I definitely enjoyed it.
I too would give it an 8. I mean, I'm not going to go overboard. I don't, it's not like one of my favorite movies. I just think it's the funniest. Tom
It wasn't
Hanks
Shawshank.
movie.
I mean, come on, man.
To me, it's the funniest Tom Hanks movie made.
I'll agree.
That was my main argument. I'll stick to it.
It depends on what you find funny, but I'll agree.
Yeah.
Good job.
And for sake of argument, its metric on IMDb is 6.9. So. It's a decent movie.
Yeah, I would give it a 7 to 8, so that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll be right there.
I think it's nostalgic. It's a nostalgic movie for sure.
That's the word for me.
Yeah, it's a nostalgic movie. Absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, so I guess we'll close this out with the Dirty Minute with Yo Jabba jokes. And okay. Yo Jabba is so stupid, he got expelled from the M&M factory because he threw away all the W's.
That's pretty good. Yo Jabba is so stupid, it took him 2 hours to watch 60 minutes.
Your job is so short. Poses for trophies.
Oh, I'm dying.
And Yo Jabba is so stupid that he took his son to the other room to ask him, who is this Oscar Mayer kid and what do you want with his wiener?
Oh, Jesus. Yo Jabba is so nasty, a skunk smelled his butt and passed out. I went southern on that one. That was good.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Cinema Stash Rehash. Be sure to give us some awesome iTunes reviews, like us on Facebook. Don't forget to check out past episodes and join us next time on Cinema Stash Rehash.